And the ghosts and ghouls, they are out in full force tonight for trick-or-treating on Harrison Boulevard. We take you to some of the best houses on the street, and we'll talk a little bit about how much they spend when it comes to candy. Coming up in just a few minutes.
New video this afternoon. Take a look. Tamarack has started making snow, but what's really cool is this drone video. The resort had as many as 7 snow guns in operation last night. They are hoping to open December 9th for skiing.
Firefighters are mopping up a brush fire from this afternoon. It burned near the Micron headquarters in East Boise. Firefighters estimate it got to about 30 acres in size, and they believe it was sparked by a bird that hit an overhead power line. Now to the fires burning in California. Firefighters stamped out the last hotspots at a house in San Bernardino. It was one of 6 homes damaged when flames raced down a hillside there. Residents who stayed through the night fought a nightmarish battle of smoke and flames. This is just the latest in a series of fires that have erupted this week in Los Angeles. Besides the homes, the fire also swept through a nature reserve.
It's pretty rough, man. A lot of people invested a lot of time, a lot of sweat equity in this, but, you know, it's just the way it goes.
A shift in the weather is helping firefighters keep the upper hand on the Easy Fire in the Simi Valley. This is the one that yesterday threatened the Ronald Reagan Library. A Northern California fire crew finally is gaining the upper hand on fires that have destroyed in the Sonoma Valley at least 140 homes.
Pollution monitors that keep an eye on the air quality are working overtime this week with smoke and dust. All that stuff in the air is making it hard for the equipment to get an accurate registration because the smog is thicker than normal.
What we're seeing in the air right now is particulate matter 10 microns. It's bigger in size. So the monitor is not able to pick that up, and there's a lot of soot and a lot of dust, large particles of smoke particles.
Californians are having problems breathing with the air quality being so bad. Doctors are seeing more of skin rashes, facial rashes, migraines, headaches, and lots of nasal congestion.
New at 4, the financial burden on renters in Boise is getting worse. Here are the latest numbers. The price of a 2-bedroom unit is up 15.4% in the last year and 5.3% just in the last month. And in this national rent report, Zumper ranked Boise as number 56 in most expensive rental markets in the nation. And the median price, by the way, for a 2-bedroom, it's $1,200 now, and a 1-bedroom is $980.
Looking ahead, a few Boise area auto repair shops will honor Veterans Day with free oil changes for military personnel. 5 Treasure Valley businesses will provide veterans, active duty military personnel, and their spouses the free maintenance on November 8th and 11th. The offer includes the oil filter and up to 5 quarts of regular oil. You do have to schedule an appointment ahead of time. Head to idahonews.com to see all the locations.
Coming up on CBS 2 News, criminals continue to push the envelope trying to smuggle drugs. See where some crystal meth popped up.
Post-it notes. We use them for just about everything. See how one man used them to land an internship.
Here's a live look at Harrison Boulevard. It looks like they're making some repairs to their display in front of this house. And all the ghosts and ghouls are out right now, starting to look for candy. The Idaho Transportation Department is doing a fun little Halloween safety campaign. With the help of some local businesses and nonprofits, they're encouraging drivers to watch out for little monsters. And look at that, they've actually painted traffic cones to look like candy corn. And they've now placed them around the valley. So watch out for them, and that means watch out for the kids.
We need to be mindful of where kids are. They're popping up in unexpected places, darting between cars. They're excited, and some of them are doing this for the first time, so we need to make sure that message is out there. There's a grand total of 40 candy corns around the valley tonight. They expect to expand this program dramatically in the years to come.
Well, the witching hour's in full swing out on Harrison Boulevard. Ghosts and goblins lining the streets ready for a treat. And CBS 2's Sarah Jacobson is live with all of the spooktacular action.
Hey guys, we are out here at Harrison Boulevard. I am joined by the one, the only Robert Looper, and this is his home. Robert, this is amazing. Tell me a little bit about, first of all, your house and the decorations.
Yeah, so this is my son's house, not mine. We're just we just help them manage this process into here. So we've got the zombie theme going on here. You know, with the witches, every year we add a little bit. We'll have the creepy lady up in the window when it gets dark, and so the zombie theme works pretty good. It needs to get a little darker though.
I know we need to work on that, and also we're still working on, also just a note for those families out there wanting to come down, the road not yet closed off. We're still waiting on that. But Robert, I'm also curious because there is a lot of kids, thousands that come down here. So how exactly are you guys able to keep, you know, the candy flowing?
So we just keep shifting people in there, and we've got these guys right here starting off in our first, and they've got the counter. Jack, you got the counter there. He's got the little counter every year. There we go. We count everybody so that, you know, we can keep track for the next year how much candy we need to buy. And I'm sure we'll be over 3,000 kids, you know, this year again. Maybe 4,000. I don't know. We'll just have to see. So it's pretty crazy. But we keep running shifts in through here. A little food and alcohol inside.
And it keeps you going.
Keeps
you
going.
gotta go back in when
it's
you
a cool
out.
night. So
tell us a little bit about your costume too, because it first of all caught my eye right off the bat.
So Kitty and I would be, of course, Curious George, and and I would be. I think it's just the man in the yellow hat. I don't think he has a name.
I think it
if he has a name,
is.
I don't know. I've read the story a lot to my grandkids. So this is a very safe costume in the middle of all the ghosts and witches and things that we have in the yard.
Well,
yeah, the spooks.
Well, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Robert. And we'll be back out at Harrison Boulevard showing you all the ghosts and ghouls trying to get tricked and treated. And that'll come up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Love the outfit.
Yeah, and even though the road isn't closed yet, I'm guessing there are a few that are already starting to get out, especially with the little kids. They want to get it done early.
You know, and there's something that's so awesome about that street with those gigantic trees, and when they shed their leaves and those leaves are on the lawns, and you almost can't paint a better picture than that.
It's a boulevard,
Yeah,
a
it's
true
beautiful.
boulevard.
Yeah, it really is great. It's really awesome. And the weather's going to be great, guys. No wind, no rain, no issues, no problems. So get out there with confidence that we're going to have just a wonderful Halloween night for the kids. Now, there are some clouds hanging around. Temperatures could be dropping down into the upper 30s, but right now the temperature readings are hanging out at 41 degrees here in Boise, 42 in Mountain Home, 42 in Nampa. So pick your spot, a little bit on the chilly side up in McCall, but actually I think the cloud cover that we're seeing over the area right now is going to kind of help to keep the temperatures from dropping too quickly. So mostly sunny skies expected tomorrow. Now there's going to be a very slow warming trend that moves into the region. By Saturday and Sunday, we could actually see temperature readings, if we're lucky, approaching the low to mid 50s range. A few clouds on Sunday, just high clouds cruising by, but it's going to be dry for quite some time. Now, the disturbance that's moving by the Continental Divide is what's generating the cloud cover for us here in the Treasure Valley. You can see it's kicking up a little bit of snow here and there, some pockets of snow around eastern Idaho and also around portions of western Montana. And there's that disturbance right there. Now, the main dominant feature for us continues to be this massive blocking ridge of high pressure that's holding on to the west coast. And it is locked in for right now. In fact, I think it's easily going to be locked in at least through the middle, possibly into the latter part of the week. So that orients the jet stream in such a way where storms continue to pass by up here to the north. They come very, very close. All we see is the occasional high clouds with the core of the storms impacting the central plains off into the Great Lakes. So mostly sunny skies expected over the weekend. And as that jet stream maybe dips a little bit more toward the west, coming in more out of the west, that will allow our temperature readings to warm up just a little bit more. So forecast region by region. Overnight lows tonight, that is if the clouds clear, we could drop down into the low teens along the Long Valley. And in the lower Treasure Valley, overnight lows tonight, upper teens with high temperatures tomorrow, mid to the upper 40s. We'll see mostly sunny skies again. Anytime you have a northwest flow, you have the potential for some occasional high clouds. Kuna at 49, Nampa at 47, Caldwell at 49 degrees, and Boise will see a high temperature tomorrow of about 48 degrees with a low tonight of 22. Here's my 7-day forecast for the valley. No storms on the horizon. We're going to keep it dry through the weekend and beyond, with temperature readings creeping up into the mid-50s for daytime highs around the middle of next week. And for you folks in the Long Valley, nice dry conditions expected tonight, tomorrow through the weekend, maybe some clouds on Sunday and Monday as another one of those disturbances kind of slides by across Montana. Now folks, a lot of questions I've had is how does the winter look like coming up this year? Well, I don't know if you recall, but I think we have some video I'm going to show you. We do have recollections of the winter that impacted the Long Valley. Last February was a record snow month for them up there in the Long Valley. The snow plowers were super busy. I took a trip up to Atlanta and also up to the Long Valley, up towards McCall, to talk to some of the old timers and ask them how they feel this winter is setting up. We'll have that special report, plus we'll mix in a little bit of science as well as to what we can officially expect with a forecast coming up this winter right here on CBS 2 News at 10 o'clock tonight. So I certainly hope you'll join us. And it's interesting how the old timers are kind of lining up. They're feeling and seeing things that the science side of things is seeing as well. And so we'll have all the details and the full story tonight at 10 o'clock.
Salt of the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You bet.
Coming up on CBS 2 News, Post-it notes are definitely handy. See how one man used them to open the door of his future job.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau fought his way to re-election, but though he took home a victory, he lost the war. The black and brown face saga erupted for Trudeau just a few weeks ago. He went on an apology tour after the racist images emerged, but his re-election campaign was in trouble long before the photos came to light. There is anger over Trudeau's failure to get a pipeline built to the Pacific coast and growing concerns of corruption. But none of these elements stopped Trudeau from winning. Former U.S. President Barack Obama even endorsed his good pal just in time for Election Day. What can we make of the recent election at our northern border? For starters, it wasn't a total win. Trudeau's party lost its majority, and he will have to cut deals and make concessions to get any of the progressive policies he desires passed, an obstacle he didn't face previously. It's going to be an uphill climb for Canada's one-time favorite son. Trudeau is facing a much different environment than he's accustomed to, but he's up for the job. Canada remains a shining beacon of hope for liberal policies that have created stronger equality in areas America still struggles in, like healthcare and education. Let's get to the point. Trudeau pulled off re-election despite conflict. He just might be the last beacon of hope for progressive policies in North America.
Amisha, Justin Trudeau's victory, in spite of his past racist acts, underscores the liberal bias in most of the media. Coming up, my thoughts on Trudeau's victory.
The views expressed by commentators do not necessarily reflect the views of this station.
For a competitive internship, found a way to stick out. He used sticky notes to land himself the job. Computer science major Gursimran Singh's apartment faces the Atlanta tech firm NCR. The 19-year-old Georgia Tech student came up with an idea to get the company's attention.
I was like sitting with my friends. I have this big window, and we were just like joking that like, yeah, I mean, this is a big window right in front of NCR. I mean, I could post hire me post-its.
And so he did. And the next day, he got a sticky note response from the Fortune 500 company.
The next morning when I woke up, it was the email thing was out there. They responded. It was pretty amazing.
And he followed through and submitted his resume. As fate would have it, he also won an award at a tech event sponsored by that company. So guess what? Next summer, Singh will be an intern there. And he hopes this inspires others to be a little more creative when it comes to going after what you want.
Coming up on CBS 2 News, some are still crying foul over the last presidential election, claiming Russia interfered using social media. How Twitter will try and prevent that from happening again.
Plus, the Star Fire Department says it needs voters to come to the rescue. Why firefighters say it's time for a new fire station. Commitment to keeping you informed about what's happening in Idaho's schools. The report card is in for the nation's students, and CBS 2's Haley Kramer has a breakdown of how Idaho students did.
For the most part, Idaho's average scores in the NAEP, the National Assessment for Education Progress, held steady since the last time 4th and 8th grade students were tested 2 years ago. The test takes a sample size of students in schools in each state and assesses their reading and math skills. Students in Idaho performed above the national average in all 4 categories. Idaho 4th graders scored 4 points higher than the national average in reading and 2 points in math. 8th graders scored 4 points higher than their peers in reading assessments and 5 points higher in math.
The big picture, the big take home is, are they performing alongside their peers? And for Idaho, they are performing above the national average. But of course, you want to take a little bit deeper of a dive and look at those scores a little bit closer.
One of the things to take a closer look at is Idaho 8th grade reading scores. While still above the national average, scores in Idaho went down 4 points since 2017. That's a trend seen among nationwide results. Idaho's 4th grade reading scores stayed the same. Their 4th and 8th grade math scores both went up 2 points since the last assessment. For the 2019 results, Idaho lags behind most others when it comes to test results among students with disabilities. Superintendent Ibarra says it's also something they're seeing with their English language learners. And while she says they've seen increases, they want to close that achievement gap completely.
When it comes to Idaho, the teacher shortage is very real, especially when it comes to our special education educators. And it's starting to affect our achievement, which is common sense. And so moving forward, what I'd like to see as a state superintendent is us really address the educator shortage.
You can find more information about the test scores on our website, idahonews.com. In the studio, Haley Kramer, CBS 2 News.
Coming up on Tuesday, voters in the Star Fire District will be asked to decide whether to relocate and expand Star Fire Station number 1. CBS 2's Scott Logan is live in studio with what's at stake.
The Star Fire District is asking voters to consider a $4 million bond on Tuesday to purchase and equip a new fire station and fire district headquarters to keep up with the growth of the district. Fire Station 1 on West State Street was built in 1985 and is in need of replacement, the district says. The district also says it needs to accommodate current staffing levels of 12 full-time firefighters, plus provide for future staffing. The $4 million in bonds would be used to secure a 37,000 square foot facility just down the street from the current one that can be improved into a new location for the fire station and administrative offices. The tax rate would be about $11.50 per $100,000 of taxable value. Now, a bond approval requires the so-called supermajority of 2/3 of voter approval to pass. Live in the studio, Scott Logan, CBS 2 News.
Well, new at 4, Snake River Correctional Institution reports an inmate has died behind bars. He's 70-year-old Carl Hagnes. Prison administrators haven't said how he died. He had been behind bars since January.
A massive drug bust, this one in Australia, nets hundreds of pounds of crystal meth hiding in some surprising objects. Officers say the most shocking disguise was crystal meth hidden in bottles of hot sauce.
The drug itself, we will allege, was contained in sriracha hot chili sauce bottles.
Australian border forces seized more than 700 bottles of the sriracha sauce.
They've gone to considerable effort to make the sauce appear to be sauce, and within it is embedded a significant amount of methamphetamine.
Yeah, nearly 900 pounds of crystal meth hidden in those bottles. They were shipped from the United States to a freight depot in Sydney earlier this month. The drugs have an estimated street value of $210 million.
Twitter's dropping all political ads from the site, triggering a new debate about free speech. The social media CEO tweeted, "A political message earns reach when people decide to follow an account or retweet," he wrote. "We believe this decision should not be compromised by money." But Facebook's decision not to censor politicians, even at the risk of spreading misinformation, faced scrutiny on Capitol Hill just last week.
In a democracy, I don't think it's right for private companies to censor politicians or the news.
Facebook will continue to run paid political ads, while Twitter's new policy to not profit on those ads will go into effect November 22nd.
I'm James Rosen on Capitol Hill, where official Washington is abuzz over a published report that put a name to the anonymous whistleblower at the heart of the impeachment drive against President Trump.
Now check out our chime-in photo of the day. These kids are enjoying a Halloween party at 10 Mile Community Church Daycare. Thank you to Lauren for sharing this photo. To submit your photos of Halloween or anything you want, send us your favorite photos to idahonews.com/chime-in. To Washington and a possible answer to the parlor game that has gripped the Capitol for the last 2 months. Who is the White House whistleblower that launched the impeachment investigation? Sinclair investigative reporter James Rosen has that answer.
Veteran journalist Paul Sperry of Real Clear Investigations cites unnamed officials saying they believe Eric Ciaramella, a 33-year-old CIA staffer with experience working for former Vice President Biden and inside the Trump White House National Security Council, is the whistleblower whose complaint about President Trump and Ukraine kicked off the impeachment inquiry.
You have this concept of anonymity because, according to the executive branch, they can revoke your security clearance for blowing the whistle to Congress.
A former NSC staffer in the Trump White House has confirmed to Sinclair that Ciaramella is considered by Trump loyalists in national security circles to be the likeliest candidate to be the whistleblower. The source said Ciaramella, an Obama-era holdover at NSC, was perceived by Trump loyalists at the time to be opposed to the president. The detail that the whistleblower once worked with Mr. Biden has found its way into GOP rhetoric.
Democrats are trying to impeach the President of the United States 13 months before an election based on an anonymous whistleblower with no firsthand knowledge, who has a bias against the president, who worked with Vice President Biden.
The whistleblower alleged that President Trump used U.S. military aid and other incentives to pressure Ukraine into investigating the business dealings in that country of Hunter Biden, the son of the Democratic frontrunner. The president admits having made such a request, but denies any pressure was placed on Ukraine, something the Ukrainian president has seconded.
The whistleblower got it all wrong. Who is the whistleblower? We have to know. Is the whistleblower a spy?
The president would love to punish the whistleblower. The president's comments and actions have jeopardized the whistleblower's safety.
In a statement, the attorneys representing the whistleblower refused to confirm or deny whether Eric Ciaramella is the whistleblower, adding that their client is legally entitled to anonymity. On Capitol Hill, James Rosen.
Coming up on CBS 2 News, it's a spooky but spectacular sight that draws visitors from all over the world. The surprising benefit of millions of bats to one Southwest community.
Yes, and we are out here at Harrison Boulevard, Halloween in full swing. We give you a look at the spectacular event and all the ghosts and ghouls out in full force.
Now let's take a look at your primetime lineup. If you're staying in to hand out candy, you can watch a little television tonight right here on CBS 2. Got some good comedies, Evil at 9, and then our news at 10.
Justin Trudeau has been re-elected as Prime Minister of Canada, as his Liberal Party won the most seats in the recent election. The victory allows Trudeau to keep his position, even though several images of him wearing brownface and blackface emerged during his campaign. Trudeau apologized when the news broke, but he was not able to honestly state that he did not participate in other racist acts. I talked to you several weeks ago about the double standard in the media when it comes to liberals and conservatives. Sadly, as I predicted, Trudeau's racist past ended up being glossed over, and the golden boy of international liberalism skated to re-election. The liberal media will excoriate conservatives for alleged wrongdoing or political incorrectness, while allowing liberals like Trudeau and Virginia Governor Ralph Northam to get a pass. Take the most recent example. The media pounced on President Trump for using the word lynching when describing the Democrats' contrived impeachment inquiry. However, they largely ignored the fact that former Vice President and Democratic primary frontrunner Joe Biden, together with scores of other Democrats, used the same exact term when describing Bill Clinton's impeachment in the 1990s. Here's the bottom line. Justin Trudeau's victory again shows that liberals in media and politics do not care about consistency and are not troubled by being hypocritical. The liberals' focus is on gaining power for their far-left ideas.